All right, so I want to talk about my language learning goals for 2025 and my Kobo and how I'll be using that. And yes, this is an excuse to also talk about the Kobo. And then as a side note, before I do that, look how cute this little Lego mug is. Anyways, for my language learning goals, I have been learning Spanish for years. I took Spanish in college. And then outside of college, I continued to learn on my own, but mostly it was like passive learning, so I can understand okay. But actually being able to communicate verbally has been the most difficult part for me. And I think that's for most people because I believe that those are like different parts of the brain kind of and like muscle of language learning. So this year I want to make an effort to actually focus on my grammar and then also focus on trying to speak more. I started off pretty strong and I focused on trying to do my grammar exercises and all of that. But then last year I pretty much fell off completely and only would listen to Spanish some. I was not practicing it. And this year I'm trying to pick it back up. So I started listening to Spanish again, and luckily I'm still able to understand somewhat, at least with captions I can understand. So I just need to like drill down and actually practice writing and speaking. So I got my Kobo last year and I really love this device, probably more so than my Kindle, but I will be honest, this does fuck up quite a bit. I don't know if it's like a user error or if it came like that for me because I haven't even had it that long and it was doing it pretty early on. But like sometimes if I highlight text, it will end up highlighting like a whole passage. Maybe the way I have the text formatted that it does that and messes up, but it can be really annoying, especially if the book isn't chapters and it's just really long parts. When I was reading Beautyland on that, I accidentally ended up highlighting and it highlighted the whole section of like hundreds of pages and it kept glitching out and would like shut down and I had to restart it and figure out how to get it working again. So that was unfortunate, but I do love the color. I love the screen with like the buttons and everything. I didn't know if that would really make a difference if I would care about that, but I do like that. And then I got to thinking, because I have this book, The Complete Spanish Grammar Guide, but I have the physical copy and I haven't been using it in part because I sit at a desk all day and I don't want to sit at a desk really when I'm not working. So with the Kobo, you can annotate directly onto the books with the stylus. And so that's what I'm doing. And then I can flip to the back to the answer key pretty easily because it kind of like saves your spot of recent pages, so I can just hit back to it. And it's been working for me so far, so I'm gonna try to keep that up. My goal is to at least put in like 10 minutes a day, okay, of at least doing grammar exercises, and then definitely daily trying to listen to Spanish videos on YouTube or music or a show also, because I didn't do that last year, which is unfortunate because by now, who knows, maybe I could have been speaking it more fluently. The book that I had was this one, The Magic Key to Spanish, A Creative and Proven Approach. It has like stories kind of, I think. So it's supposed to be a little less dry than just like the grammar books and grammar exercises. But at the end of the day, it's still like grammar and whatnot. So I might try and use this and do a chapter of this at least a week. And honestly, I might start reading the Magic Treehouse series again. I think I read like a few of those in Spanish. I do have a young adult book that I started a while back in Spanish, which I should probably try to finish that, but it's been so long since I picked it up that I don't even really remember what happened. So I think I'll start off easy, try and at least get those down, and then advance to young adult and so on. And I know some people are like, you don't actually need to like practice grammar and stuff like that much. You can just listen to stuff and then try practice speaking and you'll be able to pick it up and absorb it. But that just doesn't work for me. And I feel like I'm not going to say it's a lie, but I do think some of the people who say they can learn Spanish within like 3 to 6 months, I think a lot of people probably benefit from actually doing grammar exercises and learning like the foundation of the language and practicing that, because that will make me a little bit more confident to at least speak and like be able to string sentences together a little bit more easily. Everyone learns different though. That's just my way of doing it. There are some other apps that I used in the past. I think it's called, I'll have to put it in here, like the Beelinguapp app or something like that, and it will translate or give you news articles in Spanish and stories and things like that, which I think will be useful. I also was using the How to Spanish podcast, and I think I was subscribed to their Patreon for a while, where they upload like transcripts of the episodes, and also they have like vocabulary and things like that and other exercises that they give alongside the podcast. And that was really beneficial, so I'll try to do that again. But yeah, unfortunately, it's just really difficult when I'm working to have any energy to actually learn a language and do other things. Even my hobbies sometimes fall off, like reading. But I am trying to use social media less, like TikTok and Instagram, and just focus on reading and trying to get back into my hobbies. So we'll see if I keep it up with my Kobo, the help of the Kobo. I did bash this a little bit, but I really do love the Kobo. It's just, I don't know if other people have those issues because I haven't really come across it. I don't know if people are like sponsored by them sometimes and they're just not saying it. But it can be really frustrating when the highlighting messes up like that. And then sometimes also my annotations will disappear if I like click wrong or something. It doesn't happen very often, but it has happened. I know people had a lot of issues though with like the Kindle color soft that came out, so I'm not really interested in getting that, and I like that I can annotate with this and that it's like a reasonable size. And then for practicing speaking, I think one, I need to just like speak it out loud to myself and maybe record myself too, or like videos and then translate them to get practice that way, even if I'm like scripting it. And then I think I used an app, like a tutoring type app once, where I spoke to a Spanish tutor in Spanish for a conversation, which was very scary. It was my first time doing it, but I think it was beneficial to at least try it. So I really want to practice my grammar and everything, just structuring sentences so I can try to feel a little bit more confident speaking to someone. And then of course I have not been practicing, like I said, for a whole year, so some of my vocabulary has definitely been lost. When I listen to it, it is still in my head, so I can still understand, but in terms of like actually recalling it to speak and to write is not as easy right now, so I have to practice my grammar as well. Or not my grammar, my vocabulary. So I think that's all I have for this. If you are someone who is bilingual or has learned multiple languages, if you have any tips on how you do it, that would be great. And if you haven't learned a second language and you want to, maybe this will be helpful. And I truly, if I was to make a video once I practice more on like my language learning tips and how I'm doing it, I really do think it would be beneficial for a lot of people to actually start off with basic grammar. Even though it is boring, you can try to use something like this where maybe it is a little bit more creative, but you still are practicing the structure and the foundation of the language and grammar basics. I think that would help give you a foundation to build off of. I think having taken those courses in college definitely was really helpful, and if I hadn't done that, I probably would not be able to like understand very much and anything. I think someone I watched on here also is named Lindy Boats. I need to put their name in here, I forget, but she was really helpful when I was starting out on learning the language on my own after college, and I think she posted recently, so I might go check out what she's doing. But yeah, if you watch this video, like always, thank you so much. Feel free to interact if this is interesting to you or if you are learning a second language. And yeah,